The Amazing Pinecone. When the old man wandered into town, no one paid attention. He tipped his tattered cap, he waved his wrinkled hand, but everybody ignored him, for he looked just like a beggar. When the old man wandered through town, he tottered up the hill to the mayor's house. The house was big and bright and beautiful. It was the finest house in town by far. The old man raised his gnarled cane and rapped on the front door. "What do you want?" called the mayor's wife as she eased the door open and peered through a gap. "A place to stay," the man replied, "to rest for just one night." The mayor's wife looked at the old man. She looked at his tattered cap, she looked at his shabby coat, and quickly she shut the door. "Go away!" she shouted. "We have no room for beggars here." The old man wandered back through town. He tipped his tattered cap, he waved his wrinkled hand, and still no one paid any attention. He came at last to another house, a poor, pathetic little place, and he rapped on the door with his cane. A poor little woman answered the door, and when she saw the old man in his beggar's clothes, she felt sorry for him. "How can I help you?" she asked. "I need a place to stay," said the old man. Again, "to rest for just one night." "Of course," she smiled, and she welcomed him into her home. Next morning the old man rose early, but before he said goodbye, he reached into his pocket with his wrinkled hand. "I want to give you something," he said to the woman. "It is my way of saying thank you." And he handed the woman a pine cone. The woman didn't know what to say. No one had ever given her a pine cone before, so she smiled as politely as she could and tried very hard not to giggle. "This is no ordinary pine cone," the old man explained. "It is a magic pine cone, and it will multiply by 1,000 times the first thing you do today." The woman smiled again. She liked the old man. She appreciated his kindness, but this was the strangest thing she had ever heard. She said goodbye, and when the old man had gone, she turned to the piece of cloth she had woven the night before. She pulled it out of the basket to fold it, but the more she pulled out and the more she folded, the more cloth there was. Soon, not only her living room, but her kitchen and her bedroom and the whole of the house was filled with brand new cloth. The woman shook her head amazed. So it really was a magic pine cone after all, and it wasn't long before the whole town learned of the woman's good fortune and the old man's magical gift. Exactly 1 year later, the old man wandered into town again. This time, no one ignored him. He tipped his tattered cap, he waved his wrinkled hand, and everybody stopped and smiled and invited him to spend the night. But just as he had done before, he wandered through the town to the top of the hill and knocked on the mayor's door. The mayor's wife welcomed him with open arms. She gave him the nicest room and the most comfortable bed, and she cooked him a delicious meal. And as soon as he had gone to bed, she put a pile of gold coins on the table, ready to be counted the moment she received his thank you gift. Next morning, she had expected, the old man reached into his pocket and handed her a pine cone. "This is no ordinary pine cone," he explained. "It is a magic pine cone, and it will multiply by 1,000 times the first thing you do today." The mayor's wife nodded and smiled. She could hardly wait for the old man to go, and as soon as she had shut the door behind him, she raced to the table ready to count her gold. But before she got there, something happened, something she had not expected. The mayor's wife sneezed, and because that was the first thing she did, she sneezed not once, not twice, but 1,000 times. Achoo! 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 For the rest of that day, and the next, and the one after that. The whole town, of course, heard of it. News even reached the old man, who smiled and patted his pocket of pine cones, and then wandered off to another town, tipping his tattered cap, waving his wrinkled hand, and looking for somewhere to spend the night. The end.